What is the stupidest way you've injured yourself? Showering at a hotel in a small stall with a slippery tile floor. Bent over to wash my feet. My butt hit the tap handle. I slipped, put my hands out to save myself and violently slammed the glass shower door open. I bashed my forehead and bridge of nose on the tile floor. Had a major nosebleed and a giant goose egg on my forehead. I don't have bangs to cover that up. I thought I had escaped without the black eyes I expected after bashing my nose, but 2 days later I woke up with deep purple swollen eyelids. Luckily I had packed my seldom used makeup to cover the worst of it and I wore a hat in the daytime. I'm still shocked the shower door didn't shatter when it hit the wall. Threw a grape in the air to catch it in my mouth. It fell on the floor and I bent down to pick it up and smashed my face into the windowsill. That actually made me laugh, sorry. I was in the 4th or 5th grade but I jumped down an entire flight of stairs. Landed hard and hurt my foot. Walked on it for a day or 2 afterwards, turned out I shattered my heel and broke my ankle. Hey, I did that same thing in college. Tripped over a storage ottoman trying to jump over it all slick. Got my toes wedged in the latch and broke my foot in 2 places. I live in Minnesota so I am used to kicking snow off my boots by slamming my toe part of the boot down on the ground. Well, it was summer and I happened to get my running shoes absolutely covered in mud, so I instinctively slammed my toes down on the pavement and broke my toes. Drank hot tea lying down. The first thing you learn in British school is to never drink tea lying down. Stabbed myself in the leg with a piece of metal. It was really thin and tapered at the tip so when you swung it you would hear this really cool whoosh sound. I swung down way too hard and it went right into my shin. Bad times. I did this but I swung up instead. Ripped my forehead. I got out of a long, hot shower and noticed a thread dangling off of my shirt, and when I tried to pull it out it just neatly sliced through several millimeters of my finger. It was so minor I can hardly even call it an injury, but getting cut by a shirt is definitely the stupidest I've had. I found my dad's EpiPen one day while looking for mouth spray for sore throats. It obviously wasn't what I was looking for but I wanted to figure out how it worked. I ended up shooting the needle clear through my thumb. I then hid the evidence of my stupidity and never told my mom until years later. I'm sure your heart was racing for multiple reasons, not even counting the epinephrine. Was helping husband replace the bathroom fan, so I was standing on the side of the bathtub. I had this plastic hook glued to the shower wall to hang a loofah on. I went to get down and slid down the wall and hooked my butt cheek to the wall. It hurt so bad but was also hilarious. I'm in my 40s and this happened recently. I bent over while having a shower and gouged a hole above my tailbone on the bath tap. I dropped something behind my couch, leaned over the back to pick it up and cracked a rib. Was in pain for a week. Getting old as heck. I broke a rib by coughing too hard. I'm just getting over the flu. Did the same thing. Carving a stick. Instead of carving it away from me I carved it towards myself and sliced my thumb open. Shaved hairs but towards myself and took off a slice of my thumbnail. Twice. To try to get a cheap laugh out of my ex, I threw a hammer as hard as I could at a tree. The hammer bounced off the tree, and I turned just in time for it to hit me in the small of my back. Miracle I'm not paralyzed. Thank goodness you weren't throwing an axe. Shot myself in the eye with a Nerf gun. I looked into the barrel to see if it was loaded. I was 8. Sounds like a supervillain backstory. Held a lighter to my ear to listen for gas flow. Click and there went some hair. When I was a kid, maybe 10 or so, I had recently discovered that the feet on my prosthetics could be unscrewed and moved into different positions. So I borrowed an Allen key from my dad and took it to school so I could unscrew my feet and show my friends at recess. None of them were as blown away by this as I'd hoped. Pretty sure they were just used to this kind of thing by now, haha. Anyway, the bell went to tell us to go back to class and I very quickly tightened the feet back onto the prosthetics, put my shoes back on and started making my way back to class. As I was walking with a group of my classmates I started to notice my legs felt wobbly. I looked down and with every step my feet were turning outwards slightly. A normal person would have come to the conclusion, oh, I didn't tighten the screws up enough. But not me. I jumped to the conclusion of holy crap, I can control my feet like a robot. My excitement quickly turned to dread when I realized I don't know how to control feet, being an amputee since I was a baby, and they kept turning until one was pointing sideways. Despite this, I kept trying to walk, and after a few more steps the foot just fell off and I managed to slam the now footless prosthetic down, which jarred my knee and hips and caused me to slip over and faceplant into the corner of a cement mini wall, one of those waist-high walls. Being a self-respecting 10-year-old, I started bawling my eyes out, which caught the attention of the new teacher. It's her first day and the only disabled student is in pieces. The foot got thrown backwards when it fell off, with a bloodied nose, screaming like a banshee. She didn't really know what to do since I couldn't get back up, so she gave me some tissues for my nose and made a very confused call to the maintenance man asking if he knows how to fix prosthetics so I can get to the school nurse. I went from chuckling to myself about you messing with your prosthetics to wincing until my cheeks hurt. Walked onto a manhole cover that was not placed on correctly, ended up in the hospital and had to have 3 surgeries over 4 months. Tragedy is when I cut my finger. Comedy is when you fall into an open sewer and die. Mel Brooks. My friend saw a jellyfish on the beach, then kicked it, like on purpose, and knowing what it was, they had to go to the air. The level of badass of that jellyfish is through the roof. You are washed up on the shore, so you are on the enemy's territory. It's hot. You are straight up melting. You have no legs or arms to fight back, and yet you do. You poisoned that little brat straight into the air. What a legend. Punch myself in the boob while trying to frick around with my sleeves. I don't know how it happens, but it happens often. Having punched, smacked, squeezed, bruised my boobs since they grew in, I am pretty sure they are their own entities. Yes, I spelled it that way on purpose. I was pulling a heavy blanket up, my hand slipped off of it, and my thumb, with a longish nail, went straight into my eye. Riding my bike home in 5th grade slowly alongside my walking friends. Friend, Drew, look where you're going. Drew, nor did I'm good at biking, I can do it with my eyes closed. Friend, no really dude, look out. Drew, no man, I'm good. Instantly crashes into a parked car, mess up my bike chain. Have to drag my bike home in shame and explain to my mom why my knee and lip are bleeding. I've done something very similar before, and I've also been named Drew before, so I'm relatively certain you are me. I'm a welder. I work with really hot steel parts constantly, but I regularly burn myself on the microwave meals I eat for lunch. Thought I could walk my dog on a leash while riding my bike. Dog saw a squirrel and yanked me off my bike. I broke a few bones in my hand. Dog was like, what did you expect would happen? Whoa, so many options. Most recent, working under my truck on a slight slope while on a creeper. Grabbed the undercarriage and yanked hard to slide to the back. Forgot about slope and used excessive force. I probably would have wound up in the street had all 250 pounds of me not been decelerated by the top of my head hitting the differential. Woke up and it was darker and my neck was sore. I also had a horn like a unicorn. Big lump. 2 weeks on concussion watch and wearing a hat to conceal the lump. Most memorable, Yomi finds a weird blue light bulb in the creek. Has what looks like mica inclusions in the glass and steel wool instead of a filament. Yomi goes into the closet with a 9-volt battery and 2 wires to find out what it looks like lit. I hold it between index and middle finger and apply the wires. Eureka. Like a flash I realize, it's a flash bulb. I am now blind. In a closet, 2 fingers melted to a hot flash bulb. Keystone Cops antics ensue. Strangest. Talking to my sister on the landline in the kitchen. I have raccoon hands, always touching things, picking things up, etc. while talking. At one point I wind up with a peanut butter cookie and an open flame. Even I don't know how I got there. Peanut butter cookie winds up on fire. I try to throw it into the sink, miss badly. Cookie breaks up and flaming pieces fall on my bare feet. I learned there are a lot of nerve endings on top of my feet. Screaming somehow communicates problem to sister, who I can hear laughing on the dropped handset. Bonus. Forgot the cookie lesson regarding nerve endings. Barbecuing in a Weber kettle. In flip-flops. I spread out the pile of briquettes once they were ready. Bottom vents were open and hot embers fell on my feet. Poured beer on my feet and increased the vocabulary of nearby children. I was practicing using a little barbecue with my boyfriend once, and when we were done we tipped the coals out. I noticed one coal had fallen out of the bag, and so I grabbed it and threw it back in. My boyfriend saw this and grabbed a coal, too, one that had come from the flaming barbecue. He still has slightly warped fingerprints on that hand. Bending over to pick up a paper bag, a completely empty paper grocery store bag. It was standing upright, not even laying on the floor. I barely had to even bend down to pick it up. Somehow this triggered a cosmic alignment between two vertebrae and nerve cluster, because suddenly I fell to the floor in crippling pain. Could not get my back straight and had to crawl to the living room so I could lay on the carpeted floor and try to stretch it out. I ended up fricked up like this for days and had to have physical therapy to slowly work out the pinched nerve. I was basically walking like Quasimodo for a couple weeks. People would assume I was in an accident or lifting some boulder like Hercules or saving a child pinned under a car. But nope, I was undone by an empty paper bag. Stepped on a pebble, broke my leg. I have osteoporosis. When I was a kid we had blue carpet in the living room. I had just watched some movie or show where the characters jumped into a painting, and I started thinking maybe if I believed really hard, the blue carpet would turn into a vast ocean. So I climbed up on the recliner and swan dove into the floor. I can lock some of my finger joints when I want to. You can probably see where this is going. So I was showing someone it and it kinda got stuck there for some time and ended up bruising my knuckle and the finger, so yeah, don't flex, kids. I think the problem here is that you didn't flex. Tried to stand up off the floor of a pub toilet after drunk dialing my ex and tore my knee cartilage. Was on crutches for a couple of weeks after that and ended up needing surgery. I was a dumb kid. I wondered how much it would hurt if I whacked myself in the head with a hammer. It hurt a lot. Rode a bike with no shoes and no brakes, stopping with my foot out of habit and skinned the entire top of my foot. Had a co-worker who lost a toe riding a bike barefoot when she was a kid. She used to scare kids into wearing shoes with that story. One time in middle school I was getting ready to head to school, but I couldn't find any pants. When I finally did, I got so excited and lifted them up really fast as a way to cheer. All of a sudden I felt so much pain in my shoulder and had to go to the doctors. Turns out I dislocated my shoulder and had to wear a sling for the next few days. Burning my hand badly on the handle of the cast iron pan. For the 500th time. I managed to break a toe kicking a balloon. Explain. I have so many responses to this. My goodness me. Tore a tendon in my finger when tearing a single sheet of paper. Knocked myself out by bumping my head whilst on the Eiffel Tower. Fell off the bed and sprained my ankle whilst trying to remove a moth from my brother's room. Broke my knuckle when I banged my hand against the door accidentally whilst dancing. The list is endless. You need to be, like, put in a straitjacket for your own protection. Punch a cacti. My brother was wearing socks with sandals. First mistake, and was 15 or 16 when we went on holidays. He never seen a cactus before and decided to kick it. He learned a lesson that day. A lesson on how dumb he is. Broke my 5th metatarsal in my left foot when my heel slid sideways out of a 1/2 wedge sandal. Cartwheeled on my left foot from the heel to my toes, landed on my right hip. 3 months in a walking boot. Not me but my best friend. She tried to iron her pants while wearing them. Your friend is the reason obvious warning labels exist. 16-year-old me thought that I should put my hand into the Big Mac bun toaster to fish the middle of the bun out. Yep, still got the scar up my right hand 5 years later. I was separating my eyelashes because mascara, with a safety pin, stabbed myself in the eyeball. No. On Wednesday I sat down wrong. That's it. Being 30 sucks already. I just turned 35 and I swear 2 days before my birthday I farted and then laughed myself into an asthma attack. Coughed so hard I cracked a rib. Got blunt rapiers, basically toys, from a friend that didn't want them. Buddy and I decided to have a sword fight. Did several rounds, and finally he jabbed me, right next to my eye, and I got scratched and bled a bit. So technically I have gotten cut in a sword fight. I tried to do that thing where you whistle with a blade of grass when I was about 10 or so and sliced the inside of my lip open with the grass. While working at a restaurant, I cut my thumb washing a knife and received a few stitches. Not terribly stupid. The stupidest WAA a few days later. Also while at work, I snapped my friend with a towel and I immediately felt my thumb go pop. My thumb no longer worked. I couldn't bend it no matter how hard I tried. My tendon had severed from the force of snapping my friend with a towel. Surgeons had to open my thumb from top to bottom to find each end of the tendon to sew it back together. What was a small cut turned into a zigzag incision all the way down my thumb and into my palm, followed by a ton of stitches, followed by months of physical therapy. It's been over 20 years and I still can't bend my thumb entirely. Also, the restaurant declined to put me back on the schedule after my thumb was healed. I was an idiot and couldn't really blame them. Summer after 5th grade, I was in the backseat of my parents' car going about 40 miles per hour and had my hand out the window making an airplane wing with it. Well, some too close to the road sign didn't like this and decided to break my hand. You have been visited by the Sauce Chihuahua. You will be blessed with good pasta, but only if you comment simmer well. Papa simmer well papa. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.